You know when you're in the middle of a job application and you think it's going well and you move on to the second round of interviews and you're like, great, I got this in the bag. And then they just give you this, here's homework. Well, recently that's happening to me and they asked for a 10 to 15 minute long presentation. If you know anything about me, which you obviously don't, that's why you're watching this video, then you'd know that this don't work for free. I'm against it. My family's against it. My ancestry is against it. I don't work for free. But I have been thinking of making like a resume or like a little introduction video of who I am, some stuff that I've done. So I was like, why don't I just mesh these two things together and kill two birds with one stone? So here is a quick introduction into who I am, as well as I believe the prompt for the presentation was what was a previous project that I was most proud of. So let's start. Real quick, my name is Alexander i.t.o. I'm age 30 right now, born in 1995. My hobbies include drawing, doing weird content video like this every once in a while when I'm in the mood, owning very squeaky chairs apparently, and overall just vibing, like anime and video games. But not that much. I don't really consider myself a nerd despite all of this crap. I need to call you crap. You're not crap. I'm just saying for the video. In terms of personal background, I'm half Japanese, half African American. So in terms of previous works, I've primarily somehow stumbled and fumbled into the marketing space, primarily the digital marketing space somehow, because all the boomers that I worked with didn't know digital marketing, and despite me not knowing what digital marketing was, there was people around me that knew even less. So that's how I got in. I've been working in Japan for the last 10 years now, mainly due to my Japanese citizenship, which was great. 税金と年金までもちゃんと払っていますので、いじめないでください。よろしくお願いします。And hopping from project to project, hopping from job to job. In terms of my resume, it's kind of a little bit all over the place, but that's mainly because someone kept dying in my family, which was annoying to say the least. But now, you know, a majority of the old people are dead now, so we're good. We have at least 4 to 5 years of good workitude before I have to like work remotely fully again or something like that. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. In terms of projects that I've done in the past, we can talk about when I talked about how black people don't really trust healthcare or big pharma and got us a big pharmaceutical web renewal project. That was pretty cool. Or when I helped a YouTuber get to 100K by producing 3 10-minute videos a week, translated and edited from 2 hours into 10 to 15 minutes every other day. That was cool. That's not cool. That sucked. There was the time that I had to go on an apology tour because the head of APAC for a distributor that I was newly working for kept saying that she worked in Asia a lot and she's worked a lot with Chinese people. Japan is not China, so that was very interesting. The longest company that I worked for was a esports event organizer startup that my friend had started around 5-6 years ago. I worked there for 3.5 years, and our biggest project was a government project where we had to get around 10 to 20,000 people to the arena, as well as the overall Days Affair. And it was with esports titles that really aren't considered esports anywhere else. Also, it's a government-run thing, so it was very difficult to the point where 3 people collapsed. I had like a manic episode, and I was managing a team of around 7 photographers and video editors directly. I had to edit and shoot myself. That was cool. I think I'll talk about my most recent position at Expo 2025, where I worked directly with the Dutch government. That was super interesting just because it was the first time I was working with such a large entity, namely the government directly, which was interesting. A government, mind you, that 1, I don't understand governments. 2, I thought that Dutch was Deutsch, as in like I thought they were a form of German. I did not know that the Netherlands was Dutch. Where we had to update and modernize the image of the Netherlands to the Japanese general audience. So my KPI was we got to get the Instagram and X 5K. If we can do that, I think we did great. Long story short, we got it to 14K and I think around 18K respectively. We had a larger pavilion, but it was it was smaller out of the larger ones, where we can't compete with the States.
Best Coca-Cola.
Or China. as I gotten to know Dutch people a little bit better, I was like, you know what? The main stereotype with Dutch people is that they're extremely honest. Why don't we just have very quick, honest social media? What is honest social media? Honestly, kind of shitty social media. And I don't think that our content was bad, but like we didn't really polish it that much. I mean, if you compare this to Saudi Arabia, obviously we had no budget. But we pivoted and changed from kind of shitty content to honest content to now we're friendly because we're honest. Dutch people are honest. We don't got the budget to do all those things. But hey, you know what? Here's a stroopwafel. Pretty cool. Throughout the whole project, we're trying to consistently pump out stuff that both the client, in this case the government, needs, as well as stuff that their constituents need. So this is LinkedIn posts that have nothing to do with Instagram, or there's business delegations, there's royalty coming to visit. So a lot of those different kinds of content that I couldn't necessarily control, but we still had to, take account of, right? We're growing steadily, but not at a pace that some of my bosses were completely satisfied with, which is fair. Did I lowball it a little bit? Kinda. Was there budget? No. Is there time? No. To August, when all of Expo shuts down because the train, there's only one way to get to Expo. You can't really drive there. I want to say a large, maybe 80-90% of people that went to Expo went by train. Which is like, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. But also, there's only 2 trains that go there. So what happens when the trains stop?
Thousands of visitors to the Osaka World Expo were stranded after the Osaka Metro 2.0 line got disrupted on August 13th.
And now all of a sudden, 30,000 people are stranded on an island literally made out of garbage and refuse with little to no water. Yeah, I don't know how they ran out of water. It's kind of hilarious looking back. I wasn't there for that when that happened. I only saw it the next morning when I woke up with a hangover because I was off that day previous. And just so it happens that was the one week that all of my communications team was off on vacation, or they were just out of town, so they weren't available. I normally do social media, right? But I don't do media. Well, that day I had to do media and I had to do social media. And you know why? It's because the Netherlands Pavilion was one of the few pavilions that opened up during that kind of catastrophic event. Our staff that was working the pavilion actually made a really difficult time into such an amazing one that I knew that I had to immediately pivot, comment, and respond because we had so many thank you messages all over X, all over Instagram. At this point in time, we hadn't really responded to anyone's comments just because there's a lot of comments, both negative and positive. We were selling these limited edition Miffies that they would sell out every day, and because they're limited edition, and because it was Miffy, and because it was Japan, yeah, that was kind of a recipe for disaster. But anyways, thanks to the quick thinking of our team that was there that day, I was able to then pivot our social media from just being a friendly one to truly a heartwarming and like wholesome pavilion. Like, hey, like remember when that happened? That was a difficult time, but we all went through it together. I wasn't there, but I was there in spirit when I woke up. Because then even make the story even shorter, we were able to then have all this organic growth because we really showcased our people working there are really people. We're not just some conglomerate or group. We weren't just Dutch people, but Dutch people aren't the only people that can represent Dutch attitudes or Dutch spirit. So we went from this kind of very rigid government entity to like, hey, we mess around, we're cool, we have fun, to hey, we, and the main way that we did that was through authentic social media, not good social media, not extremely polished, but just authentic. Hey, this is who we are. Nice to meet you, etc., etc. I hope that was enough of a presentation. I'm sure there were graphics here and there. But this just to kind of prove, because this is still for a presentation, but this is also for myself. I just want to give a quick breakdown into the workflow that it would take for me to make a video like this. Honestly, setting up this room and the lights took the longest part. I'm going to edit this on my phone in CapCut just to prove that I can work fast, because I do work fast, and honestly, working fast is probably the most important thing above polish in social media, in my opinion, especially when it comes to trying to make stuff that feels a little bit more authentic. I'll be doing this in CapCut. I shot this on my iPhone 17 Pro. The audio I got from my DJI mic 2. Music epidemic. I don't know. These are all things that literally anyone can get. And basically, this is something that I can do in maybe 3 to 4 very focused hours of work, which means I would want 2 days to make something like this, unless it's an emergency or unless I'm getting paid very well, by which case, dude, I will do whatever you want. I'm very flexible in that way. Don't know who's watching this, but nice to meet you. Thank you for watching, and hope to hear from you soon.